Something huge is brewing. A slugger is going to be available on the free agent market, and it's someone the Mets ought to pursue. But there's lots of moving parts and a lot to consider here, and it goes even beyond just money. I'm Adam Choit, your host for today here on Mets Digest, and before we dig in on all that, I just want to give you guys a quick heads up, a quick reminder to please subscribe, because as you can see, nearly 68% of you guys watching these videos are not subscribed, so please take a quick second to do that. It is appreciated for sure. Let's get into it. As you can see here, I'm talking about Munetaka Murakami. The Japanese slugger is going to be available for MLB teams to sign this offseason. Big news here, as you can see from Sleeper Mets account here. The Mets are amongst a bunch of teams that could make a big push for Munetaka Murakami. And he has 265 home runs over his last 8 seasons in Japan, and he posted a 1.051 OPS and 26 homers in 69 games this season. He is a power hitter. We're going to dig more into this story and his stats momentarily, but as you can see here, here's a good look at his career stats over in Japan. 1,000 games played, 273 average, 945 OPS, 265 career home runs, 722 RBIs, 678 walks. Thoughts on potentially bringing him to Queens? Mets Muse asks here on their X account, and I am very much in favor of this. Obviously, there's some risk when it comes to signing overseas players, Japanese players, but of course, over the course of the last 20, 30 years, plenty of Japanese players have had success. Plenty of overseas players have had success in the States. So I think this would be a great signing for the Mets. They will not be the only team interested in signing Munetaka Murakami. The Mets and Yankees are interested as well, per SNY. And I'll get into some of the other teams who are also going to be in on the sweepstakes per reports. Here's the story. Let's dig in a little bit from Mark Feinsand. According to sources, Munetaka Murakami, a slugging corner infielder for the Yakult Swallows of the Central League in Nippon Professional Baseball, will be posted this winter, making him available to all 30 major big league clubs. Murakami's move to the majors has been expected for months. Yahoo Sports Japan reported last December that Murakami announced that 2025 would be his final season in the NPB, while Yakult team president and acting owner Tetsuya Hayashida told multiple Japanese media outlets in June that the club is willing to post the 2-time Central League Most Valuable Player and 4-time All-Star. Murakami has played about 75% of his games at third base, with the other 25% coming at first base. Listed at 6'2", 213 pounds, he has 246 home runs in 892 games, including a 56-homer season in 2022, the most hit in a single season by a Japanese-born player. The left-handed slugger also won the Triple Crown that year at age 22, becoming the youngest player in league history to accomplish that feat. The Mets could face the loss of Pete Alonso, who was opting out of his contract, so President of Baseball Operations David Stearns went to Japan in August to see Murakami, who hit a walk-off home run with Stearns in attendance. So a lot to chew on right there. The Mets look to be certainly in the mix for Murakami. Stearns knows him. He's put up the numbers in Japan. And even if he, doesn't put up exactly that 930, 940 OPS in the States, if he can get to that, low 900s, high 800s, borderline all-star level stats, I think whatever team does end up signing him is going to be very pleased with that performance. Let's continue to dig in on this. This is from Alvin Garcia from Heavy.com. Stearns' presence in Tokyo is a clear signal. The Mets will be aggressive if Murakami is posted this offseason. This was from posted earlier this article here. The team's pursuit could depend on whether Pete Alonso stays beyond 2026. Murakami's versatility, he can play third base, first base, or serve as a designated hitter, would allow him and Alonso to share the lineup. The Mets won't be alone in their pursuit. As mentioned, the Yankees, but also the Dodgers, Cubs, Red Sox, Phillies, and Blue Jays are all expected to closely monitor the situation. Again, that's Alvin Garcia from Heavy.com. And I can't help but think about the Dodgers and the Blue Jays, depending on how their seasons play out, how that will affect whether those teams, are in the mix for Murakami this offseason. So something to pay attention to beyond just the Mets as this playoff continues and the LCS is about to begin later today, the ALCS. So keep an eye on the Blue Jays and Dodgers and and based on maybe what happens in their remaining postseasons, that could give us some hints if, Murakami is going to be a threat to sign with either of those teams. Let's continue on with the story here. Murakami has primarily been a third baseman during his time with the Swallows. He has also dabbled at first base and even got a brief look in left field this year. Scouting reports have him generally pegged as a middling fielder who will likely end up at first base in the long run. Over time, his market will become more clear. Whichever club signs him will also owe a posting fee to the Swallows. The posting fee is calculated as 20% of the contract's first $25 million, 17.5% of the next $25 million, and 15% of spending above $50 million. That's Darren McDonald from MLBTradeRumors.com. I want to continue to talk a little bit more about his fielding, because as I research Murakami myself and dig in more on his background and his story, his fielding is certainly a question mark. And the defense of the Mets was certainly a question mark this past season. And just looking at some of his numbers and some articles and doing some research on his background, he looks like a weaker first baseman defensively than Pete Alonso. He's not highly touted as a third baseman, as a defensive whiz, far from that. So DH might be his position, or like these articles mention, first base might be his best position in the long run. I'd be curious to see how he stacks up with Vientos at third base and his fielding. Who's better between those two? I would gather that Brett Beatty is a better all-around athletic, more athletic fielder and a better fielder than Murakami at third base too. But Beatty obviously has some flexibility and some versatility, and he showed that, jumping from third base to second base and performing pretty admirably defensively at wherever really the Mets put him this season. Let's continue on here. There we go. Defensively, Murakami, who was drafted as a catcher, has been worth minus 48 defensive runs saved at third over the past 3 seasons, and projects as a first baseman or designated hitter in Major League Baseball, which puts more pressure on his bat. On the flip side, he runs pretty well for his size, with 56 steals and 88 career attempts, generally grades as a plus base runner, and has stayed healthy aside from this season's oblique injury. That's Yuri Kurosawa, reporting from WorldBaseball.com. That was a scouting report from earlier this year, and I don't think anything has really changed since that scouting report came out. But I wanted to give you a little bit more details about his fielding and what we're getting into, what we as Mets fans would be potentially getting into watching him should he sign with the orange and blue this offseason. But I think those power numbers are certainly worth taking into serious consideration. And you know where I stand. I think you guys can guess at this point, based on where I've spoken on some of past videos, that I want both. I want it all. I want Soto, I want Alonso, and I want Murakami in the lineup too. I want Murakami and Alonso to be in that lineup together. I want my cake and I want to eat it too. And, would be interesting to see how Murakami plays how he plays as a fielder, so to speak. But grab this bat. The Mets could definitely use some more protection in that lineup. And, he's somewhat of a not totally known quantity, and there's some risk. But who are you more confident in moving forward? Are you more confident that you're going to get a big season and a big leap from Ronnie Mauricio or Vientos, or are you more confident Murakami, who has a longer track record than those players, and especially Mauricio, of course, who hasn't had a ton of at-bats in Major League Baseball in his career at all. But Murakami has been pretty damn steady with his performances overseas in Japan in his career. Let's continue digging in a little bit more on him. And as you can see here, this is also from Sleeper Marlins here. I suppose this is one of the longer shots. I know a lot of these sleeper accounts here on Twitter X have Murakami posts attached to those accounts. But it's possible here. Miami has a winning culture, made playoffs 2 of the last 5 seasons. I suppose that's maybe an exaggeration or a optimistic, a sunny side view of Marlins' recent history. The new regime has a mindset of developing players and sustainable success. I would say the former of that sentence is more true than the latter, given the Marlins' history. I'm not intending this video to be a Marlins bashing, but more or less just giving you guys a view that there will be plenty of competition for Murakami this offseason beyond just the big spenders, big cities, and some of the primary teams that have been named in various rumors that we're seeing. It's rumor season, certainly. He won the 2023 at World Baseball Classic in Miami, so he has a little history there, and Miami's friendly to Japanese players. Ichiro's retirement home is there. Man, this post is certainly reaching, but just to give you guys a sample that, an example that there's going to be plenty of competition for his services this offseason. Here's a look at his numbers here. Again, big sample size over in Japan. As mentioned, he had that 56 home run season, 134 RBIs, career OPS 945. He's been a beast. Career OBP 394. I mean, if you want to take off X amount of points from all of these numbers across the board, his slash line here, batting average, OBP, you want to take 20 to 50 points off all of these, you're going to get pretty damn good production in the major leagues if this guy can track to having that 900, high 800s OPS in Major League Baseball. It's interesting how a lot of these, especially left-handed Japanese players, have very similar swings. Definitely looks a little bit like Godzilla for the Yankees. Hideki Matsui back in the day, similar left-handed style swing, big power bat. But what do you think about? What do you guys think about all this? The Mets signed Murakami. How do you guys think this will affect potentially signing Pete Alonso as well? Do you see him as a replacement for Alonso? Is there room for both? Is there room in the checkbook on the payroll for both of these players? Let me know what you think about Murakami, what you think about the Mets. It's rumor season. It's hot stove season. Plenty of more reports coming on this channel as the offseason progresses. Hope everyone's able to, if you are watching the NLCS and the ALCS and then the World Series, able to enjoy that on some level, despite the Mets not having, the season that we all had hoped. But let me know what you think about Murakami down below in the comments. Like, subscribe, do all the things, and let's go Mets.